Yes, man.
That man was amazing.
That man was amazing.
He knew everything that was going on.
He was amazing. Quiet man that saw everything.
He knew everything that was going on.
Everything, yeah.
When you came to the place, was spotless everything.
That's right. Old school. Titan was down there with his husband.
The shop was right there.
Everybody thought she was.
They thought she was sweet.
tough, though.
Now, I'm gonna tell you who I was scared of. Miss Van Week. This week.
No, I saw Miss Scurry pick up a guy with her one hand.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I tell you what to tell you.
No.
All right, you guys, so thank you again for coming out. I know before we could even get in the building, we were sharing so many, well, you guys were sharing so many historic gems, just great memories and walking through and bringing it all together. But let's kick things off with first introducing yourselves. So for example, I am Jackie Vickers, the Community Engagement Manager with the City of Winter Haven.
My name is Robert Atkins, and I'm a retired banker for Wachovia Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, 30 years, and I'm retired.
I'm Shaheed Muhammad. I'm still in the workforce, 76 years old. I work for a company locally, 610.
When I am Jacqueline Polk, I am a retired licensed practical nurse, mental health for 37 years.
I am Deborah Bell. I'm a retired medical secretary for 35 years.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your service and all of your different professions. And, you know, based off of some of the conversation that was shared earlier today, it's good to know that this school basically helped with the foundation of all that and how educators were very strong in pushing not just academics, but also life skills. Now, we're actually brought here today because of some comments that you shared at a commission meeting where the City of Winter Haven was recognizing the Triumphant 8 at our January 26, 2026 commission meeting and dedicated the entire Black History Month to you guys. I know that there are a few members of the Triumphant 8 who are not here. Would someone like to share and spell the correct spelling of their name of who's not here?
Vernon Kinsler was my brother. He passed away in 2014. He was a bus driver for Citrus Connection.
My sister and brother. My brother's name is William Atkins. My sister's name is Aliyah Wahid Pasha, and also known as Lydia Atkins. What is that? What I'm supposed to say? I think who is who's missing?
Shavis people.
Clifford Weeks.
Clifford Weeks.
Clifford Hobbs Weeks, because he went under
Clifford Hobbs Weeks.
Hobbs in the book, I think it is. Right. But he became Clifford Weeks. He passed away.
Wow, I don't remember.
A while back, yeah.
It's been a while.
Mm-hmm. I think it was 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Is that everyone?
Yes,
I
yes,
think that's all of us, right?
Yes.
I really loved the remarks that you shared at that commissioner meeting where you made it known that your story, you guys' story needed to be shared, needed to be told. And so I had the pleasure of meeting with you guys and we had some great discussion. And I said, okay, we absolutely have to get this on film to keep the legacy going, keep the history going, make sure it's shared and not lost. And I thought, okay, why not a great way to do that besides the City of Winter Haven's Winter Haven Remembered. But I want to emphasize this is a special edition of Winter Haven Remembered. It's a special edition because it's the true story of the Triumphant Eight. Now, when I say the true story of Triumphant Eight, what comes to mind, or what is something you want to make sure that is known and shared
In our own words.
in your own words?
You know, we were off. You know, when we were off camera or whatever, Jackie and Debbie and I were talking, and we were basically saying that this has been inside of us for so long that really we haven't even told our own kids, you know, and when we bring it up to our kids, they're kind of like, for lack of a better word, upset at us because we haven't divulged this history to them, you know, and that's why I was saying that it's a story that has to be told, because when I look back at my own at our own lives, and I think the reason why we probably haven't, because we're really going through a healing process, because there were a lot of things that we went through that we were just ashamed to tell, because in today's world those things would have come over not, you know, good. How do you let them do you like that kind of thing? Right. And so I think for a lack of telling our kids that, and it's like we kind of saving face. Maybe that's the word. Kind of say.
I think that's the best way to say it, Rob.
You know,
For me, it was basically kind of stuffed down because it wasn't a good period in my life. And then, you know, and I go to Robert's house every year after Thanksgiving for a fish fry. And we're sitting around the table, we'll talk about our childhood, but none of us have talked about this. I mean, we talk about everything. We didn't talk about me falling out of a tree, about bicycle. We talked about everything except this. So I had to go back and ask myself why.
Yeah.
You know, why was he, you know?
Why is he keeping this up?
This is the guy, and I mean, we all grew up together. We all know. So why did I not even talk to him about it, or what I felt, or why did he talk to me about it? So I mean, so that's, you know. So now it is a catharsis. You know, my daughter is just blown out the water about it. You know, she is, Mom, you went through that. You know, and then she asked her next question is how. I don't have an answer, but we did it. You know?
So for viewers or people who are trying to really capture the entire story, what is it? Like, how did the Triumphant Eight come about?
Basically,
I'm gonna turn that over to her,
Yeah.
to Saeed.
There was a case, Brown versus the Board of Education, that said that there could be no more separate but equal school system. And we being here, we were experiencing separate school systems. It was there wasn't equal representation per taxation. Simply mean the money that taxpayers pay that funded the schools. The white schools got the better equipment. We got what was left over, if there was any left. So the monies were not allocated equally. And our community, being upright as it has been and is from our parents, weren't going to tolerate that. So a suit was filed, and my mother happened to be one that kind of spearheaded this, and she filed a suit against, because there was a case that had come out that said that they shouldn't be. But Polk County ignored that. And so I came from a community that's not passive when it comes to their human rights. And my mother, his father, they met with the biracial committee several times and got with other people in the state. And so the school became integrated, basically. The court case was won in 1965. I graduated in 1967. So the actuality of that case being actualized wasn't actualized then. But then the other ones, Robert and Debbie and Jack and then they went to these different schools because they, it was law. And so when they went to schools, they were connected, as you hear us talk now about our common knowledge, our being commonology, kinship sort of. That they were these sub school. They were isolated. They were isolated. They were put into another whole culture. They came from a school that had superb teachers, superb staff, superb janitors, superb, believe this or not, superb bus drivers. Everybody disciplined us, and we were taught life skills. So when Robin and Deb and Jackie, when they left, they was in a whole foreign world.
Wow.
A whole foreign world. They had brand new books, but they didn't have that empathetic, that unconditional empathetic regard that they got here. And so they was out in the wilderness by themselves. And so, but they came from a village that taught them they can make it. And as a result of that, here we are now, telling the world how they made it.
There you go.
And make it known. That was not something we wanted to do. I dreaded it every day of my life.
Yes.
Getting up, going to Denison.
Yeah.
I dreaded it every day of my life. I hated it.
Quiet when they said we were in a law. What's a law? What am I doing in a lawsuit? Like, so what does that mean? Well, I mean, we didn't know what a lawsuit meant, And they said, but you won't be going to, so y'all got to say bye to all the friends that you've gone from first grade till 8th grade for me, and 7th grade.
7th.
And to 8th grade, everybody that I know, everybody, the teachers, everybody. And then the isolation, it's like you're breaking up the family.
Mm-hmm.
So at Jewett, someone spelled us, we were breaking up the family.
Right.
So they kind of, I think they were hurt too, so that we were leaving. So that was their only way to react. I understand that now, but I couldn't understand it then. Why they treated us like this too, because we still loved them, but it was the love for us that, hey, how can y'all leave us? And then we go, and then the love we left behind. I have to say that, thank God for the 1st through 8th grade, because for me,
Foundation.
my foundation of my being black, I had a militant, very, very militant. We had a very militant grandmother. She did not. She always, her skin complexion was so much lighter than ours, but she made us appreciate the colors that we were. So when we had to deal with the words and the name calling, it helped a little bit just to have some self-esteem. Like to say, you could say that. It don't mean that to us, even though in our minds sometimes it did hurt us. The hurt didn't go away, but because what we were given. He had a father that fought. He had a mother that fought. So these people, we learned that they're fighting for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think we just said, okay, we got to do this. These people fight, and I admired Reverend Atkins and his mom. Anything they did, I know they were doing for our best. But, a child still.
Dad was the state president of the NAACP. Majority of the time, we didn't see him until Sunday. When church,
Right.
Dad was gone the whole week. Mm-hmm. Your mom, they were going always on marches. And we were. You got to understand, we were right in the middle of the civil rights movement in the '60s, in '65. That was the pinnacle of the civil rights movement.
Yes, it was.
And we had to be taught, basically taught, if you were called a name, you couldn't fight. You couldn't do anything. You got to go to this school. You got to do what these people say, because you can't get kicked out.
Right.
Because the worst thing that could happen is that we go here, start something, and this is what they want us to get kicked out, because now the whole thing's just up in smoke.
Right.
So we had to basically be taught as kids, if you were called the N-word, You couldn't say nothing. When in our community, there was fighting words. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And we would call that every single day of our lives, and we
Yeah.
couldn't do anything about it. And it was just, and that's why I say I think that's what just brewed up inside of us, you know, because it was that tension and that you know
That
what I
raw
mean?
hatred as a kid that you're experiencing. You got somebody who hated your guts, and you had to be in school in a classroom with all these people, and you the only doc in there.
Yeah.
You know,
They always
was
kept us separated.
They always kept
None of
us
us
separated.
in the
None of
same
us had
class.
classes together.
Yeah.
You know, Jackie and Robert being in the same year, I'm behind them, but it was nobody for me to, you know, to lean on because they were a year ahead of me. And I was I ran track, I was in sports. So I was kind of like isolated because I'm in sports and stuff, so I didn't really get to see my own sister because she over here and I'm over here. So it was kind of, it was rough.
I think the intent. I think it was intention was to keep us separated.
And you remember when we were in English class, you know, we had to do Uncle Tom's Cabin. Remember that?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
And old Tom, you know, he was you know, and it seems almost like the kids in class got a joy out of that.
Oh, yes, they did.
Because as soon as they would read those passages, they would look right at us
And
and just say it.
yeah, it's sad.
And I'm like going, you know what I'm saying? But you couldn't do anything about it. And it was like, that's kind of like what we experienced, going to the lunchroom.
That's the only
Getting-
time we got together.
You know,
Yeah.
And then
We
they
couldn't
would
sit
come over
together
and
during that
spit in
time.
our food
Yeah,
and
come
throw
and-
sand in our food. And I mean, just,
Girl
You
took
know,
my
and they
shoes.
talk
She hid
about-
my shoes for me. She took my shoes. My mama told me, you got one more day to come home without them shoes. You know, I ran track, so I had to change, you know, and I didn't want to change and shower and stuff in the locker rooms because we didn't know what they were going to do to us in the locker rooms. The teachers wasn't in there with us, you know, and like I said, I'd go in there and I'd be exhausted because I'd been on ran around that track and stuff like that. And, you know, and I could have put my clothes on and my shoes were missing.
You know, the benefit of all of that is the present moment. See, this is the proof of the pudding. It was all worth it. And to whom much is given, much is required.
There you go.
And, you know, you can take us out of the village, but you can't take the village
You
out of
got
us. And that's where we come from. And so it's not so much we stood the test, but we did stand the test and also passed the test.
Yes.
But there's a whole lot more work that needs to be done. So, you know, as far as somebody calling us names, et cetera, you know, we're not, we understand that. We understand that people that have a lot of fear call people names. They're faith. And also we do understand that at one time, when it comes to us having equal education, there was a fear factor because they didn't want us to learn.
Right.
And when I say they, I'm not trying to say nothing in a condescending way about any particular, but I'm talking about a mentality, a way of thinking. I'm talking about a mentality, you know, and so all of us have succumbed out some of our challenges, and there's still more challenges. And as Brother Rob was saying, you know, and Jack as well, when it comes to telling our children. Now, I tell mine because I graduated from here and I left here like this. You know, I didn't. In fact, we left here and went to 13 college curriculum program at University of South Florida. When we were seniors, we went over there and studied. We flew Cessnas. You know, we took some courses, and a lot of cats people I went to school with, you know, they excel in certain disciplines of education. And some of them pass, some of them not. But this is the proof of the pudding. You know, this reminds me, and I don't mean no harm, but Robert can do better than now on this. This whole occasion reminds me of the prodigal son coming back home.
Well said.
See, so your father, his efforts, my mom, your parents, the efforts weren't in vain. See, the city of Winter Haven wants the story to be told. You see? And it needs to be told because we've come to an era in time where that same type of mentality is exhibited to anybody, regardless of your complexion. regardless. So it's a mentality. So as that's being said, they've asked the Triumphant 8 to lead the way.
And you know, it's sort of, I never felt at any time that we weren't smarter than they were.
No.
Because of where we had come from. Now, were we given less materials and stuff like that, and were we behind, you know, educationally? Yes, because we didn't have the same textbooks. But I never felt that I could not catch up. Because we just had that mentality about our teachers instill that in us, like hard work, determination, that kind of thing. So when I got there, we didn't really miss a beat. I mean,
Right.
you know, we had a support system in our church where, you know, after school we had school in the basement of the church. Miss Beulah Long,
Yes.
who was an educator at Jewett, would come. She was also a member of our church. She would have school in the church after school.
After school.
And that's how we caught up. We caught up because she had privy to the books, so she could get the updated material. So that's how we caught up. And just to tell a little short story, and I know I'm talking a lot, but I remember this time when I was taking a math class, and we were getting ready to have a test. And I took the test, and I got an F. I made an F on the test. And so when we came home, F's just what couldn't be tolerated. I mean, because we had to maintain a certain grade point average
Right.
in order to stay in the school. And so I remember my daddy reaming me up and down. I remember him just getting on me. I just remember him just, I just can see it today. You know, you should study harder, da, da, da. And I was telling him, I said, Dad, I did not make an F on that test. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm looking, you made an F on the test. I said, Dad, I did not make an F on that test. I was very good at math. I was always good
Yeah.
at math. Always.
I hated math.
Wow.
Okay? What we found out was this. The teacher manipulated the grade and gave me an F on the test. Because the system knew that if we didn't maintain that grade point average, that was a means of us getting kicked
Booted
out of
out.
school.
Yeah.
I never will forget this. My dad came up to the school and he stood on it. He said, are you lying? I said, Dad, I'm not lying to you. I did not flunk that test, he said. We went up to the school. We went to the principal's office. I remember where. And my dad said, this is what I want you to do. My son said that he thinks his grade was manipulated. So teacher said, that's impossible. He said, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to get that same test. I want you to give it to him again while we're sitting here. And I want you to let him take it. I aced the test.
I never knew.
All I know is Mr. Gill wasn't there the next day.
Oh, I knew Mr. Gill.
Remember Mr. Gill?
Yeah.
The crew cut?
Cut.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't there yesterday, so I think he was relieved of his job.
Probably.
He was a
Or he
trip.
was transferred to another school.
Trip. I remember him.
That's that
So
mentality.
that's the kind of stuff we had to endure. You know what I'm saying? We were all smart kids. We were all smart. You know?
But somebody didn't want you to exercise your smarts.
No.
But the
The
system,
system. That's right.
the
That's
system didn't want us there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why it's I'm so sorry. But that's why it's so exciting to hear about the progression, and kind of this conversation is actually a celebration. It's continuing the celebration of recognizing the step that you all took to pave the way for people like me to go to. I graduated from FSU, predominantly white institution, and it's different trailblazers like you all that help pave that way. And I like the point that you mentioned where it was a system designed to try to hold certain people back. And there was a law that said, and there was enslavement that said we couldn't read, and we read. You guys, you can't be in an integrated school. You survive and excel in an integrated school. You take on careers, still contributing to society with your legacy, with your knowledge, and passing it down to your kids and now to other people's kids. So, with that in mind, what is, especially with the climate that we're in today, what is a message that you would want to share to future generations, considering everything you've gone through and what you're living today?
Don't let what we did or what we accomplished, don't take it for granted. I mean, there was a lot done to pave the way for the educational system that you got that our kids have today. And I substitute teacher when they were in high school, and I can see a lot of times how they don't understand, especially African American students. They don't understand the sacrifices that were made. Neither do they know of the sacrifices that were made. So that's why when I got up in front of the commission, I said the story needs to be told, because I don't think that a lot of people actually know what had to be accomplished for them to be where they are today.
Right.
And that, I guess that's what I take away from it.
I agree.
Maybe we have a different point of view, somebody else.
And I'm grateful that you represent the city. You're doing this. There are people in this community right now that don't realize or know that Polk County was the second integrated county school system in the state, historically. Historically, they just don't know. They just don't know. And I mean, the four of us, we can tell people stuff. But what can we tell? Going back to your question, something that was told to me. Whatever you're confronted with, your task, that's of goodwill. Do the best you can. Hold your head up and keep stepping.
Yep.
And there's a slogan here with us Wolverines: a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. With passion. Be a banker, or the money collector, or the cookie toter, or the orator. But that's how all of us. You see, we all got that same little spirit. We got. I mean, it's just
that was, like they say, we saw it through our teachers, through our janitor. You didn't see him going around with his head down, and he walked with pride. His clothes were immaculate, And it's funny because it'd be different if I'm the only one that saw it, but that's what all of us could say about it. So he, and he made such an impression that he does have a marker out there.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at that pride, and I realized that pride is what has made me today to be who I am. Because at times when you're being beat up, and when you are not in that space around where you're getting it, your mind still can go back and hear, that you're a winner. You hear that. You see Miss Batson that's on the wall. You see some of our teachers are gone now. Most of our teachers are gone. But they still reflect in our minds something. And now as adults, we can identify better. As kids, we thought about, oh, they mean. But because they were that way, a certain way, those personalities, you can identify that's what helped us to keep going.
And then at home, we had it reiterated through our parents and stuff. My mother was very adamant about being a good speller, reading and stuff. But see, I had the advantage. Robert had it as well, because I had other siblings. I'm the youngest. So my brother was 4 years older than me. She's 2 years older than me. And I had the advantage of learning from them. That I had they were like my stepping stones. through all of this. My brother tried to shield me as much as he could, but he, like me, he was an athlete, so he was gone a lot. But I survived mainly because of my siblings. Robert Atkins is my best friend. We all went through it together, one hand connected to the other one, and that's how we survived.
And it extended from outside of our homes. The circle it wasn't a small circle. This whole circle around Pughsville. The hands were gathered. The discipline, sometimes you wish your mom got involved in it. But, his mama could come at me just like my mama could come at me. And I knew not to say anything back to her. Like, you can't say nothing like that to me. You're not my mama. I'll be picking up everything, my face and everything. But the whole thing is that we had a cohesive, it stuck with us up to the point now where we didn't want to disappoint, because we knew that we had this person, the pushes that you start, Bill push Robert, Butch push me, Bill push Butch. If Herman in an activity, all us gonna be there. And so when Butch was playing football at the Winter Haven High, it was packed with all the black people gonna be there, just giving support. And
he was pretty doggone good. He was a star football player.
But they were gonna show up, no matter what. Track and field, Debbie was excellent. She and another girl, they were together, because after and I don't want to forget the ones because after we were in the lawsuit, once we went to school to Denison and Winter Haven, other kids joined us. They weren't in the lawsuit originally, but they went with us. Because I keep remembering that, well, what happened to this person and that person? But then it was explained to me they weren't in the original lawsuit. But they fought just like us. They got the same treatment. They weren't exiled because they came in. I mean, they didn't come in there. They came with us. But it was just the timing of when they finally let us go when the lawsuit was passed. And students were, and the original students, and we were the original ones. So, I never want to think that it was just this little bit of number, the 8. It was more than that went. And they were there. We all stuck together. We had to stick together.
And
I didn't quite know how that thing, the freedom of choice thing, worked out, but you had, I think there was like a period in there, a year or so, right before they phased you out, where you had a freedom of choice to either go or stay. And then that following year, they just made everybody go.
Oh, see, I wasn't there then.
We weren't there, but yeah.
But there was a period there where they were
I was A&M.
kind of going between the idea of actually phasing Jewett out completely, or everybody had to go to Winter Haven, or keeping Jewett. And then, cause that was right around the time when we had the bus. Remember, we were selling all that candy to buy the bus.
Oh Lord, yes.
And then that next year they phased Jewett out, and everybody wondered what happened to the bus.
Yes.
And that's why I said that, because a lot of my friends now, after I came back from Connecticut, and I said, what happened after we left? What happened? Yep. So they told me, they went to, they talked about it, and it was so, and when they were talking about it, one girl said, I didn't even care about my book. I just wanted to get out of there. I said, what was it? She said, Jackie, it was horrible. They hated us. We could feel the hate. And she said, and their intention was not for these kids to come from, Florence Villa to South Winter Haven. They made them walk. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah, they didn't have
They would
All
not
these
bust
kids walk. All these kids that was going to Jewett had to
walk.
walk to school. Unless some of the guys, like young guys, had cars early. Some of those guys had cars, and they said they drove. But my girlfriend now, she tells me, we had to walk.
Check it. We had to walk from where the Taco Bell is, Zion Hill, all the way to Denison. Where Denison, we had to walk that every day, going back and forth every day, and walk right by Winter Haven High School every day to get there.
Yep. So it just amazed me, the pain, the healing. Yeah, we're here, but there's so much more healing, and maybe us doing this, they will get an opportunity to say somebody spoke up for us, because it was torture, and the thing is that they missed out on the arts that they did have. Those weren't some of them said they didn't get accepted to the band. They didn't get accepted to any of the stuff, the arts and stuff that they wanted to join. They didn't have the opportunity, and they were good. It's why they named the kids that made the band, and our band was one of the most awesome. Jewett had one of the baddest bands in the county.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Johnny B. Neal.
Yeah, we had soundproof band room. I mean, the
Sure
band would
did.
be in there practicing. The band room here, it's soundproof. You cannot hear the band playing in there. You passing right by and you don't hear that band playing because it's soundproof. He made sure that when he rehearsed those kids, it wouldn't interfere with the school going ongoing classes and stuff.
And that's what I keep hearing, like the reoccurring theme of a village supporting each other and pushing not just academics, but survival. And honestly, even though y'all were children, that courage you had and the courage you have today, the courage you have to share your story. And like you guys started to mention a little, it's hard to talk about, but it has to be said.
I think one of the beauties about this, our parents knew we were going to make it. We got scared, they were scared, whatever, but our parents knew what they put in us was going to succeed. They knew that. They knew that.
They knew.
They knew it to the point where they loved us like no other love can be. They would not have sacrificed us if they thought we weren't going to make it. We weren't sacrificed.
No.
We were given the torch. And they put us in, it wasn't a race per se, but they knew. They knew. They did the fighting.
You're right. Huh?
Right.
You're right.
They the ones had to dodge bullets
Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah.
They the ones had where the crosses were burned.
Yeah.
They the
So
ones
many of them.
sometimes were scared to go home at night. Right here in this community, we had 3 Afro-American law enforcement officers that could not arrest anybody other than black people.
Yep.
And we are so we grew up there, but the village, they protect us. So when they did what they had to do to pull the mess back, they knew we were gonna make it. They bad enough to make it. They got some bad children. They know we ain't gonna make it. Yeah.
I just wanted to fight so bad, though.
But that's real courage. That is real courage.
Courage and strength.
Yeah. Don't fight. Just keep your head up, keep stepping and move. And here we are now. Based
And-
on what you said in the commission meeting.
And remember when we thought we had arrived, the time when we actually thought we had arrived, we had started going, I don't think y'all were here yet then, but we thought we had arrived. We were going to Winter Haven High, everything was hunky-dory, everything, we were kind of getting along, things were kind of mellowing out. And then that infamous day when we got jumped. Y'all wasn't here.
Oh, we were here.
Y'all were
I
here?
was here because I
Okay.
went downtown.
yeah, I was in Denison.
Yeah, we were coming home from school one afternoon and
They got ambushed us.
we just got beat to death almost.
Because my godbrother, Larry
And,
Gaston, got hit with a
and the thing
motorcycle.
about it was so cowardly. They did it on the day when they knew that the main people
People would be
that would have
gone.
defended us weren't going to be there. It was planned. It was a planned
That's the coward.
operation.
It was a sports event, so because my brother wasn't there, and
Because
so all of that.
none of the athletes were there.
Another athletes. That
Because Didi used to drive down that
Yep.
way and bring some of us home because he had a car, but he wasn't there. Those guys were not there.
And I happened to
What
get
saved
home
our life.
I got home before them.
Yeah.
Cause I had a heart problem. So they had devised some, I think I could ride the bus. And I end up, I kept refusing, but that day I took the bus. Got home, and we're there, and it was two teachers.
Yep.
A man, and
Mr. Grinner, I remember his name. He was my teacher.
they ended up marrying each other.
They did. Betty, what was her name?
Brenda but anyway, they called and asked, "Are all the kids home?" You know, so they asked my mom. So Debbie wasn't home yet, and then we found out Robert wasn't home yet. So they started like, well, they should be home. So those parents got together. Reverend Atkins, Lord Jesus, let's go show ourselves. He got together, but to me, at that time, it seemed to me, you know how you have a big a movie where everybody just come out. It seemed to me at that time, it seemed like every person in Pughsville I heard was at the police station.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they knew their kids were there, and ones that didn't have kids, they were there. And Reverend Atkins is the one who walked up to. And of course, they sent the big black cop out, and he said, "I want my kids released, and I want to know why the ones that's sitting up here bleeding aren't at the hospital." And then all the parents chiming in, and that you're talking about, show up, and that's what we grew up. We grew up with people showing up.
Yeah. That was a David and Goliath moment because you got this big old man.
And we got up the next morning and walked right back down that same street again.
Yeah.
And they tried to get us to ride. We said, no, we're not riding the bus. We're going to walk.
Yep.
Tenacity.
I'm pretty sure that
We
many
had
more
some courage, man.
occurrences and stuff,
Well, you got to keep sharing these stories and continue living your legacy. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for giving us just a glimmer of the history that you were able to live. And
We want to thank you all for hearing us. What Robert said could have gone, but I was surprised to hear that, hey, we want to talk. And that's some of my old stuff and so, but I was surprised to hear that. And once I met you and you gave me some more information about it, excuse me, and then it started coming to fruition, I was like, this is real.
absolutely. And I thank Polk County Public Schools helping us facilitate this and being here at Jewett Academy, and again for your time. And I definitely expect to keep the conversation going. And I appreciate you all. We'll keep the dialogue. And of course, if you need anything, please let me know.
Need a candy apple. I'm just teasing.
Try.
I'm just teasing.
Thank y'all again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Jackie.
Jackie.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.